it's hard. It's very hard. I'm not going to act like it's easy, but you should definitely do what you're passionate about, because you're going to get to a certain age and look back and wish that you would have, you know, taken that risk, because you're always going to think, what if? And if you would have just done it, even if it didn't turn out great or you didn't end up pursuing it, at least you could say you tried. Whereas, like,
Hey, I really appreciate you taking time out today to talk to me, Amanda.
of
Hey,
course.
definitely. Thank you so much. All right, so hey, I am now on the line with a Miss Amanda LaCount. You are an actress, a dancer, a model, a choreographer, as well as a singer. Um, you were born in Colorado and you currently live in California, is that correct?
Yep.
And I'm mistaken, at one point you were on the Ellen DeGeneres show, is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm good.
That's awesome. That's awesome. And I guess I really want to start this out. I'm very curious to hear about your childhood growing up in Colorado. What was that like?
Yeah, it was great. I am more of a small town person more than big city. If I had a choice, I wouldn't live in LA, but I mean, I have a choice, but it's just career wise. I don't really have a choice because there's nothing to do in Colorado. Um, but I did really like living there, and when you live in a small town, if anyone's ever lived there, you know that you know everyone, and you're friends with everyone, and you see the same people everywhere you go, and it's just very different.
Right.
And so I definitely, when I moved to LA, I had to kind of adjust. But growing up, I mean, I started dancing when I was 2, so I've been dancing my whole life pretty much. And I'd always want to be trying new things. I did ice skating and cheerleading and horseback riding, and I did soccer and baseball, and I did a ton of stuff. I was just a very curious kid, and I wanted to do everything I could. The only thing that ended up sticking was dancing, but
Oh,
still, I wanted to try everything. And yeah, I was very adventurous. I went to an art school from 6th grade until I moved here, which was like
okay.
halfway through ninth grade. But it was a great experience. So yeah.
I get you. I'm curious. You said that you tried out all these different things, all these different activities. What drew you to dance so much? Why did dancing? Why is that what hooked you?
Um, Dancing is just very different than any other. I don't want to say any other art form, because I feel like all arts are in some way similar. But even in the arts world, it's just very different, and I don't know how quite to explain it. But the feeling when you're on stage, like performing and dancing, is just a feeling that I've never felt doing anything else. And it's just your adrenaline's going, and I just love performing in front of people. And I don't know. I think it's just I love it so much just because it makes me feel a certain way when I'm dancing that I don't feel in any other time.
Okay, I
Does
understand
that
that.
make
That's
sense? It's kind
awesome.
of, yeah, it's kind of hard to explain.
I get you. Let me ask you this then. So you're growing up it was Fort Collins, Colorado, correct?
Hmm.
Um, I guess did your parents were they dancers at one point or like what did your
Um,
parents do in Fort Collins?
my mom tries to say she's a dancer, but she never really was. But my dad wasn't really in my life too much growing up, but he definitely didn't dance. Um, but my 2 older sisters were in dancing when I joined, and so that was the reason I got into dancing, is because my mom would have to take me, because I was so little, to the studio, and I'd always just kind of like be intrigued. And I'd always be looking through the window and just kind of wanting to be in there with my sisters. And so that's how I got into it. But neither of my parents really danced. No.
Okay, okay, I understand. Let me ask you this then real quick. How important was music in your household growing up?
Mm, I would say, mm, I don't want to say like we weren't really one of those families where they're like, oh yeah, music was a huge thing and there was always music playing and all this stuff. But my mom does really enjoy a ton of music. Lately, we've been going to concerts that someone my age probably wouldn't go to, but that
Like,
she really
so like
enjoyed.
who? Like who?
So we saw the band Chicago, which was
Okay.
really popular in like the 80s, and then we also saw Elton John, who's amazing.
Ah.
But there weren't a lot of teenagers there, but I love him. I think he's great.
Just
So
very
she
talented. I know that for a fact.
Yeah. So she's very into music, but I don't particularly remember like growing up there was always music playing or anything. But my family does definitely have a love for music. I just don't want to make
Okay.
it like we're a crazy music family or anything.
I
But
understand. Let me ask you this then. So
Hey, if you can leave a like and subscribe, that would be amazing for the channel. Let's get back to the video.
let me ask you this then. So yeah, you're growing up in. You actually said you moved to LA pretty early on in your life. And I guess at what point did you kind of see dancing as maybe a potential career for yourself?
mhm. I would say, I mean, even when I was doing it when I was little, I knew that I wanted to do it like the rest of my life. So even if it didn't like connect in my head that I wanted to do it as my career or professionally, I knew I wanted to continue doing it for as long as I could. But I would say when I started thinking of it as a career was maybe when I was like 10, 9 or 10. I knew that because obviously when I was 3, like clearly I didn't know that anything. Um, and until I was like 10, I didn't even realize that dance could be like a profession or like that
Right,
could be your
right,
career.
right.
But as soon as I found out about things like Broadway, and then I found out about LA, which is very different, and the commercial side of it, I knew that I definitely wanted to be, doing music videos and going on tour and doing all this fun stuff. And yeah, so that's when I kind of decided that I want to work to be a professional dancer.
Okay, okay. So yeah, you're growing up in Fort Collins and everything. Um, and what makes you move to LA? Like what you what sparks that desire, that urge, that need to?
Yeah, so before I moved to LA, about a year or two before, I was in this hip hop crew that was focused in LA, and all the other kids lived in LA, but I was the only one that lived in Colorado. And so what we would do is my
Mm.
mom would drive to California on the weekends so I could rehearse and perform and stuff with them.
So hold on real quick. Real quick. Your mother would drive from Denver to California.
Hmm.
How long is that?
16 hours.
Your mom is a soldier.
Yeah, she is. But so I was going out for that, and I was always rehearsing, and so I'd be visiting every once in a while and taking some classes, and I just really enjoyed it, and I knew that if I wanted to make this as a career, I'd have to either move to LA or New York. And New York is more, at least in my opinion, more Broadway musical theater, or the opposite side of it is like ballet companies, which is definitely not
Hmm.
what I wanted to do. And I
Yeah.
would say LA is more of the hip hop side of it. Not that there's not good hip hop in New York, but I feel like LA is just more focused on that. And so I realized I wanted to move to LA, and I decided to move when I was younger, or when I was pretty young, because a lot of people when they're 18 from all these different states and probably even internationally when they're 18 move to LA to
Oh
try to pursue
man,
their
that's where they
career.
want to go, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so if I waited until I was 18, I'd be coming with this whole group of people. So I decided that I wanted to move when I was younger so I could kind of get like a head start and make a name for myself before all these other people came in.
And so how old were you when you moved to LA?
Um Technically I was 13, but it was like 2 weeks before my
Dang.
14th birthday. So,
Okay.
pretty much 14.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So I definitely want to get into all that, but I tell me about your beginner stage in dancing. What styles were you first introduced to? Was
Mhm.
this were you strictly hip hop your whole life, or was it?
No, definitely not. When it's pretty normal, I've never heard of anyone not doing like combo classes. And combo classes are when you start really young. I think like 3 to 5, you start with combo classes. And a combo class is like 30 minutes of ballet, and then 30 minutes of jazz, and 30 minutes of tap. So I would say it's pretty standard for all dancers to start off with ballet, tap, and jazz. Those are kind of the main three, or at least the ones you start in. And then for me and my studio, at least, when I got like, I did that for like 2 years. And then when you start going up a level, they kind of add in new styles. And so, the next year I would add, lyrical or whatever. And then the next year after that, I would add musical theater or something. And then it wasn't until I was maybe like 6 that I took my first hip hop class. Um, and I loved it. I, when I was 5, I don't know what pulled me to it. I know it pulled me to hip hop now and why I love it so much like now. But I don't know why I was obsessed with it when I was 5 years old. But now at least, that was probably confusing, but now at least I know that I like it because there's not really rules to it. And in a lot of other styles, like the technical styles, it's very much perfect or just wrong. um and I never really liked that. And so hip hop, there's not really a right or wrong way to do something. It's kind of
Right, right,
just
right.
the personal way you want to do it, and that's just what's right. Um so yeah.
I get you. Let me ask you this real quick. Going back to, I guess when you're, I guess about 6, really. I'm very curious to hear about your beginner stage in dancing. Or yeah, when you first started, what was that beginner stage like for you?
Yeah. Well, I remember my first recital. My mom likes to say, "Mom," yes. She's right here. But my mom likes to say that when I was little, I went to my first recital and I was dancing in it, and I was very much like the one that wanted to be in charge. And one of the girls wasn't on like in her spot, and so I grabbed her and I moved her to her right spot. And then I was only like 3, and I grabbed her and moved her to her right, like mark on the stage, and it was so funny. I think my mom knew then that I really like dance. I was probably gonna do it for a while. But yeah, growing up, I mean, I wasn't the best dancer growing up. I'm still not, obviously, but I didn't have the best technique, or I wasn't perfect or anything like that. But I was the performer of like Colorado, I would say. I was kind of known as like, no, I wouldn't win all the awards and I wouldn't win all the competitions, but people would remember my performance.
Oh, okay.
So, it's not about winning everything, because at the end of the day, the people, or a lot of the people I knew growing up that would win, first place all the time, don't even end up having a professional career in dance. So it's not really about that. And I feel like people sometimes care too much about competitions when really they have no effect on your career. Um, but yeah, so I was pretty much the performer when I was growing up, and I loved being on stage and being the center of attention and performing, and yeah,
So,
I loved it.
so yeah, so it sounds like yeah, you say you loved it despite maybe not getting first place. So you really, you truly enjoyed it. So let me ask you this then: for maybe for someone else who is, they're deeply in love with a specific thing, whether it be dancing or singing or writing, um, and they may not yet be seeing like the fruits of their labor, if you understand what I'm saying.
Mhm.
What words of advice could you give them, to keep going?
Yeah, I would say that it's hard. It's very hard. I'm not gonna act like it's easy, but you should definitely do what you're passionate about, because you're gonna get to a certain age and look back and wish that you would have, you know, taken that risk, because you're always going to think what if, and if you would have just done it, even if it didn't turn out great or you didn't end up pursuing it, at least you could say you tried. Whereas like if you just go into something, I know a lot of people have messaged me and stuff saying that they're in like sales or accounting now, but when they were little they wanted to be a dancer and they wish they would have kept dancing. And so it's just really sad to hear those stories, because if they would have just kept doing what they love, they might be somewhere different now and in a happier place. So I would just say, do what you love, because you don't want to look back and regret not doing it, because that's a really
Uh,
bad feeling.
that's so true, and I think also, I think we should give a shout out to your mother as well, though, right? Like she could have,
Yeah.
no, seriously, like she could have you in any other direction, but she kind of let you do what you love, right?
Hmm.
So that, I
Yeah.
mean, seriously, that's a blessing to have a mother like that who let you, who kind of nourished your love, your passions. That's really that's all
Hmm.
but
Yeah.
definitely. So tell me about this. So you're living in Fort Collins, Colorado, and you've already said you're not the biggest fan of LA. Tell me about your first year, your first that first year where you moved to LA. What was that like for you? Because you were still in school, right?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
yeah, you're leaving your old friends behind, leaving the whole life you knew behind. What is that? What is
Yeah.
that? What is that like? That
Um.
transition?
Yeah. It was really. It was really. My mom's like sitting here staring at me. It was hard because Colorado and LA are very different. If you've never been to Colorado or LA, it's like a huge, very opposite. Um, but I knew in the back of my head, no matter how much I hated it, this was the right thing to do, and I'll get used to it, and it'll be okay. But I would say probably like the first month or two was the hardest, just because, like you said, I didn't really know anyone, and I was new, and I had to kind of get a new routine, and everything was so like unfamiliar. So it was a little bit scary just being in a place you don't really know anything about. But also it was also amazing because I got to dance more, and I got to go to Millennium, and I got to take all these amazing teachers and classes, and so there was also positives to it, and just being in LA was like such a dream. So it was really cool, but it was also hard, like you said, not having friends or going to a new school and new dancers, and no one knows who I am, and there's a ton of already accomplished dancers that have a name for themselves. So, but you have to earn your way up, and I think if you just give it given to you, you don't appreciate it as much. So I'm glad I
Nah.
had to go through that and work up to where I am now.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're kind of trying to downplay, but you made some sacrifices, right? I guess in your life.
Hmm.
So I guess speak on that because and I guess tell me specifically. A lot of times people only see, especially with like Instagram or like Facebook, people may only see the highlights and not everything you've sacrificed. So could you maybe speak on that? What are some things that you've had to like, I guess do, or some of the hard times you've had to experience, in
Um,
pursuit of your dreams?
yeah, I mean, I've never met a dancer who's come out to LA who's had it easy, or they've just been flying by. There's a lot of different things that are challenging. I know when I moved here, a lot of the since I was only 14, a lot of the kid dancers, not all of them, and I don't want to make kid dancers sound bad in LA. I'm friends with a lot of them. But some of the ones that had a name, and I was coming in new, and they don't want new dancers to possibly take their jobs or
Yes, competition.
whatever. Yeah, you don't want new people coming in. So there was definitely a little bit of standoff energy, um, which doesn't sound like a big thing, but when you're a little kid, you're like, oh, I want to be friends with everyone, and they don't like me, and blah, blah, blah. But you have to realize that they don't like you because you probably are a threat to them. So it's not. I mean, it kind of sucks in the moment, but you also have to think about it like, oh, they're threatened by me. I must be that good. You know what I mean? So you have to think of it as a good thing. But then also, like I said, I mean, I went to a public school, even when I started traveling and working and doing all this stuff, I still managed to go to a public school full time, and I'm really happy I did that because a lot of kids I know do homeschooling, and there's nothing wrong with homeschooling, but just for me, I feel like I I learned a lot of lessons by going to public school and still trying to do my career. I learned time management, and I got to have a social life outside of the dance world, which was really nice. Um, and I feel like it was just good life practice, I guess. Because I feel like homeschooling, I don't want to say easier, but it's easier because you can kind of do it whenever you have free time, and it's not as strict with like, when you have to turn in your assignments and stuff like that. So I feel like there's definitely benefits to doing homeschooling. But my mom also wanted me to have a not regular childhood because moving to LA and dancing full time isn't really regular, but as close to a normal high school experience as possible so I could go to prom and graduate and all this different stuff. Because I feel like a lot of kids that are homeschooled don't really get to do that stuff, and they miss out on that a little bit. So I did that. So sometimes I'd have to like give up. I'd have to miss an audition, or I'd have to miss a job or something, or I'd just be up till like 2 a.m. doing my homework because I had danced until
Hey,
10:30.
right, right.
So there was definitely a lot of challenges, but like I said, I think it like helped me grow as a person and just learning, like I said, time management and not procrastinating and kind of being a little more adult in the situation. But yeah, I mean, I also had to give up when I moved to LA. I didn't. None of my family came with me besides my mom, and I have 6 siblings. So it was a little hard, but also I'm the youngest, so they were all in college or kind of doing their own thing. But it was still hard just knowing that I'm so far away from them, just because I grew up obviously having them around me all the time. So that was a little hard. And also my brother, he has 2 kids, and so this isn't. I don't want to say this is a big deal because I feel like I sound privileged or something, but it's hard being away from them because I want to see them grow up and
Of
do all
course, of
this fun stuff.
course.
So there's a few things. I mean, and also I would say just, I put myself out there pretty much to get judged. So I'm very aware that, certain people are gonna have certain opinions. And I do that like consciously. I know that's gonna happen, but I put myself out there anyway just because I love dance so much and it's what I want to do. So that's kind of a sacrifice in itself because I have to
Yeah.
sacrifice kind of not my self-esteem because I am always very confident no matter what people say, but I have to kind of sacrifice the fact that people aren't always going to be nice to me. Um,
So,
so
I mean, that's perfect. Let me ask you this real quick, because what you just said is like so true. Myself and I'm positive plenty others out there, man. We're very concerned with other people's opinions of us. How are you able to, I guess, really block that out to continue to do what you love? And what advice can you give to someone who is struggling because of someone else's opinion that they might be, in fear of?
yeah, I would say, I mean, I'm not an expert on this. Every once in a while, people say stuff that it's obviously going to hurt my feelings and get to me. I'm not going to sit here and be like, oh, nothing hurts my feelings. I'm fine. Because I feel like when people say that, it's just like they're trying to look so perfect, but it is not going to help anyone. So sometimes it gets to me, but I just try to remember. I mean, I am lucky enough that I've had a pretty successful career so far. So for me, at least in my situation, it kind of helps because I can be like, oh, someone said that about me, but look at all the amazing things I've done. So, there's definitely a place for me somewhere, and I've had success in some areas. So clearly, they're not completely right. So that helps. I think if I when I first moved here, if people said some of the things that they say to me now, I'd be a little more affected just because I wouldn't really have anything to stand on besides my self confidence. But I would say, don't don't put so much value in other people's opinions because I feel like we hear one person say something and we think the whole world feels like that. But there's 7 billion people in the world. Like that's just one person. Like they don't really matter that much, and I don't want to say because I feel like some people are just like, oh well, don't listen to them and like ignore them in a way, and I don't want to say like I don't want people to be ignorant about other people's opinions because sometimes I feel like it comes from a positive place or a place of care, and they're just trying to help. And so I don't want to immediately come back being rude or mean or anything like that. So I just want to make sure that people don't think they can be rude to people all of a sudden because it's never okay to do that. But I would say just know that people's opinions don't mean everything, and you can listen to it, but just take it with a grain of salt. Don't think it's the world.
I definitely, I think for you, maybe like especially for your position, it's easy to to hate the sidelines, if you understand what I mean.
Hmm.
Shade when you're on the outside looking in. So I definitely understand what you mean. I said something that's not often talked about though is how physically demanding dancing
Oh
can
yeah.
be. Yeah, so I mean, in my opinion, full-time dancers, you guys are pretty much professional athletes, because
Hmm.
it's just so demanding. Speak on that because that's something that a lot of times people don't know about. The physical regimen you have to go through. Your body is how you have to keep that in tip-top shape, right?
Hmm. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, dance is definitely very physically demanding. I mean, it's all dancing is physical movement. So I don't know how people don't think that it's, you have to be strong to do it, because it's very challenging and very difficult. But yeah, we definitely are athletes, and we definitely have to keep our bodies um healthy and strong. Um, I didn't want to say in shape, because people immediately just assume in shape is like skinny, which doesn't add together.
Right.
But you have to remain healthy, because you're putting your body through so much each day. If you're eating, junk food and crap all day, it's gonna affect your body and affect your dancing as well. And you won't be able
And
to,
your performance, right?
yeah, you'll be heavy, and you won't be able to do what you might be able to do if you were eating a little bit healthier. Um, so yeah, we definitely have to keep our bodies, you know, like you said, in tip top shape, because we're kind of what's the word? Not torturing them all the time, but we're putting them to work every single day to do stuff that human bodies are not made to do. So yeah.
I definitely understand that. Let me let me ask you this real quick. There's probably thousands of people or millions of people, who grew up dancing just like yourself.
Hmm.
Probably started at a young age and had probably the same dreams as you. Um, Tell me this, what do you think made you stand out? Can you put that into words? Why were you able to be so successful at this point in your life?
I think I was able to kind of make my success, or not make my success, but stand out a little bit, because I, like I was saying before, and I still agree to this statement today. I'm not the best dancer. I'm sure there's a lot of dancers all over the world that can, or from all over the world, that are technically better than me, or, are just better dancers in general. I'm very aware of that. But there's not many people who can perform like I do. And so that's my strength. And my strength is connecting with the person that's watching me, or the people that are watching me. Because, growing up and going to competitions, because I was a competition dancer, I would see, 30 solos that were like contemporary, and they all looked the same, and I didn't feel anything from any of them. And it's like, it's great that you can put your leg up there, but I won't remember that. That won't stay in my head. But if I watch someone and they're performing, and like they made me feel something, then I'm going to remember that more than the girl doing 3 turns. So I
Like
just think that
evoke an emotion or a feeling, right?
I just think that's what I focus on. And also, there's just something that, like, a lot of people don't dance genuinely, or it's very fake or not real. And what I mean by that is, just when they're dancing, it's not coming from anywhere. They're just like putting on something, and that doesn't read very well. And whenever I dance, I really try to make it, from my heart, which sounds really cheesy, and it is. But even if it's like hip hop, I feel like a lot of people think hip hop isn't really like a storytelling genre of dance. But for me, even if it's like the emotion is sassy, you still have to portray that emotion. No, it's not emotional and like sad and like depressed, but it's still an emotion that you have to convey. And if it's fake, or if it's phony, or you're not really confident, or you're not really sassy, it just doesn't read. And so I always try to make it very genuine and authentic. And if it's sassy, I'm gonna find something in my head that'll make me feel sassy.
Yeah. I think what happens is one for one you love dancing, but also what you do, like if you're observing someone doing something they truly enjoy, it's kind of infectious, right? You see that
Mhm.
person and you get happy. You're like, okay, they're really loving this right now. So I definitely
Mhm.
understand that. Let me ask you this, I want to like give some value to someone who may be listening. How can they handle that energy? How can they bring their performance level up? Do you have any practical advice for someone to help improve their performance skills?
Yeah, I mean, I would just say, for me, I think, like you just said, if you love what you're doing, it'll come across. So I feel like sometimes people either are too worried about the steps or too worried about looking good or embarrassing themselves, and it's like just have fun with it, because if you're having fun and enjoying yourself, like you said, people are going to see that and they're going to enjoy that no matter how good your actual dancing is. They're going to enjoy that. And also, just like I was saying before, try to make sure that, like, whenever you're performing, find something that you can, okay, like if it's a really sad contemporary piece, for example, find something that has happened to you that you can connect to that. It doesn't have to be, I feel like a lot of people don't do this and they just think, oh, I'm sad. But that doesn't read, because you're being sad, but what are you sad about? It's not very detailed. So if the emotion is sad, find something in your head that genuinely makes you sad, and it'll come across more, and you'll actually be more into the story and more into the performance aspect of it, which will make the audience more into the performance as well.
Okay, I definitely understand that. Um, Let me ask you this. I want to ask you. So, at this stage in your life, in your career, I guess what are some of your like future goals? Like, how would you define success for yourself?
Yeah, I honestly, I don't know. I feel like there's no one definition of success. Success is different for every person, obviously, and any definition that you put to it is valid and right. Whatever your definition of success is, that's great. But I don't know what the future holds. I never thought I'd be doing what I'm doing now. So I have no idea. But obviously,
So,
I hope it involves dancing. But
yeah. And so, is it like maybe is it do you want to own a dance school or tour international? Is that something that you thought? I'm just curious.
I mean, yeah, those are all things that I'd love to do. Nothing is really, off bounds for me. As long as it involves dance, I'm on board. But I think it also just, like I said, kind of depends where life takes me. Tour might not be the right thing for me, and maybe I'll just open a dance studio, or maybe a dance studio isn't right, and I'll just travel the world teaching. I don't know. It kind of depends, but I'm open to anything pretty
Yeah,
much.
I understand. Real quick, let me ask you this. You've been dancing for quite a long time now. Tell me real quick, what are some things that you've learned from dancing that you're able to translate to your everyday life?
Hmm. Um, that's a good question. Actually, I don't think I've ever been asked that question. Um, I feel like maybe one thing is because even though I do focus on hip hop now, I did contemporary ballet, tap, all the styles until about like 2 years ago. So I did contemporary, I did lyrical, I did all these different things. So I would say one thing is um, by having to dance so many different emotions, I think it's helped me kind of define the emotions I'm feeling in real life. Because I know sometimes people were like, I don't know what I'm feeling. Like, I just feel a certain way, but I don't know what it is, and I don't know, blah, blah, blah. And you just don't know why you're feeling a certain way. But I feel like by doing so much dancing and doing so much storytelling, it's kind of helped me, like, decode in a way my feelings and my emotions, and kind of not
Like an
confront
outlet.
them, but get through them. And so I think that's one thing that's helped a lot from dancing.
Yeah, I definitely understand that. I definitely do. It's just kind of like an outlet for you.
Hmm.
So yeah, I definitely understand that. Real quick, tell me, you know, can you? Yeah, you might have already answered this, but what advice could you give to someone who aspires to be in your position? What does it take for them to get to where you're at,
Honestly,
or
I
or, or
think,
get past you?
uh-huh. I think all it takes to be successful, or to get to where I am, which I don't know what that means, but if you want to be successful in your career, I would just say make sure you love what you do, and if you work hard at it and are passionate about it, I really think that anyone that's passionate and hardworking can do whatever they want with their life. Um, so yeah, like I said, I think as long as you work hard and you love what you're doing, I think
Yeah,
you can
sure enough,
get
sure enough.
anywhere.
Real quick, tell me, give me one tip that can make anyone a better dancer instantly.
would say maybe, well, it's one thing, but there's like kind of two parts to it. Let go and don't take it so seriously. I feel like sometimes people take dance way too seriously, and when you're watching them dance, you're like, whoa, like it's not that serious. We're just dancing. You can smile. You can, it's fine. So I feel like sometimes it can really benefit you to just let go and have fun and make a fool of yourself, and it'll just make you happier, and it'll probably make your dancing better.
Okay, I believe it. I like it. I like it. At this point, man, I know we're kind of short of time, so I really want to thank you so much, for taking time out here to
Of
talk to me.
course. Yeah, of
Yeah,
course. It was
I
fun.
thoroughly enjoyed it. Yeah. So real quick, tell me, what are some of your upcoming events? What do you have going on in your life?
Yeah, well, I just about a week ago got done with the Rihanna
About
Savage
a week
Fenton
ago.
show, which is amazing. I did that for about 3 weeks, and it was awesome. And now I don't think I'm gonna say what I'm playing, but I'm gonna be in the ABC live or not broadcast, but the live television thing for Little Mermaid. I'm gonna be in that. Which is exciting. I'm really happy about it, and I'll be doing that for about 2 months. And then it's holiday season, so nothing really too exciting happens then. And then it's the new year, and I don't know what's gonna happen next year, but hopefully it's as great as this year was.
That's awesome. That's so amazing. And real quick, tell me, how can people get in contact with you? How can they reach out to you?
Yeah, of course. My Instagram is Amanda LaCount, and my mom and I always try to answer as many messages as we can. So if we see your message, we'll respond. Also, I have a website that I'm really excited about. It's just amandalacount.com. So if you have any questions about me, they're probably answered on there. And yeah, I have a YouTube channel. I have two actually. If you just want to watch dancing, it's Amanda LaCount Dance, and then my YouTube channel where I do fun stupid, silly videos is Amanda LaCount. So I think that's it. I think I covered it.
That's perfect. So yeah, like I said, man, I really want to thank you so much, for taking time out today to talk to me.
Sure, of course.
Yeah. So yeah, I think this will do it for this episode of the Two Feet podcast. Thank you so much, Amanda.
Thank you.
Yeah.
That's all it is. Hey everyone! If you made it this far to all the way to the end of the video, I want to thank you so much. Um, my overall goal with making these interviews and these episodes is to give a voice to dancers. To give them a platform to speak their story. So, if this is of value to anyone, then that means the world to me. My overall goal is to give value to the dance community. So, if you find no value in this, then I urge you to please let me know where I can improve on. Um, I I truly want to, just uh, give value and content to the dance community. So please let me know how I can improve, where I'm messing up, because to be 100% honest with you, I'm learning along the way as I do this. I truly am. So to be able to interact with the dance community, it means the world to me because it gives me feedback and it lets me know what I'm doing right, where I can improve upon. What I'm doing wrong, which I feel like might maybe more important. So please, if you all could comment and just let me know what you think, it means the world to me because that feedback just helps me improve. So um, please comment as well. Please like and subscribe. That means a lot as well. But I want to say thank you so much for just watching this because it means the world to me. I want to take you on this journey of the Two Left Feet podcast. I'm very excited for it. So, once again, thank you so much.